So different four category of the services are possible to render by establishing a company there or by LLP there. Is that anything it comes under this category, they will get the exemption under the Income Tax Act. They get the benefit of the goods and service tax exemptions.
Hi, my name is Abhishek, and today I have an opportunity to talk with CA Pradip Modi sir, who is going to share valuable insights on IFSCA and Gift City. So let's dive into it.
Well, the services are being rendered by the professional firms in a domestic market are also eligible and qualified for IFSC unit. But there is a special benefit given to these professional firms, legal firms, or any other services related to a bookkeeping or taxations. They are also being qualified for the purpose of 100% tax exemption, income tax exemption under section 80LE. And therefore, there is no special requirement to be qualified in these jurisdictions, but they have to seek the license.
Okay.
They have to make an application under two categories, major two categories. One, ancillary services framework, or second is BATF regulations.
Okay.
Now they have to make a selection that whether they would like to take the license under the both, or they would like to take a license for one only.
Okay.
Because the licenses for both the different categories are having a different compliance criteria.
Okay.
And they are allowed to do that activities if they are registered there.
Okay.
Now in case of a ancillary services, for example, the person can make an advice of giving a professional services related to creation of entity. They may also do the services related to a what is the benefit available to the client, prospective IFSC unit, and so on and so forth under the category of the ancillary service provider. They can also provide the management services under the same category. They can also provide the services related to the other ancillary areas which are specifically given under ancillary framework. Now, IFSC has come out with specific regulations, and that is a BATF.
Okay.
So, B stands for bookkeeping, A stands for accounting, T stands for taxation, F stands for financial crime compliance services. So, different four category of the services are possible to render by establishing a company there or by LLP there, and you can provide the services only to the IFSC units or units or companies located outside India. You cannot render the services while sitting there to the domestic customers or clients.
Okay.
The reason is that you have to bill them in a dollar, and you have to deal in a dollar, that is a foreign currency only. And therefore, we can't as a domestic person give them the payment in dollar in IFSC because we are not allowed. We can make a payment to the outside India in dollars if we seek any advice, but not in IFSC. And therefore, they cannot provide the services to the domestic customers. Now, prospective customers, if they want to avail these services, for example, the share broker would like to set up their offices in that particular jurisdiction, yes, certainly they will provide it because ultimately he is giving a services to the prospective entity of IFSC. But the same entity would like to get the taxation services. You can't provide the taxation services because they are only the consumer of the domestic laws, only indigenous laws, and therefore you can't give that services to them. So similarly, bookkeeping services, that is the recording transaction in books of accounts, you can provide the services to the overseas customers, like somebody located in Dubai or UK, USA. You would like to maintain the books of accounts, recording the transactions. Yes, you can do it by taking a license under the BATF category. Similarly, you can give accounting services. Accounting services means it is the compilation of the financial statement, analysis of the financial statements, analysis of the reports, preparation of the reports, corporate governance reports. So all these services you can provide while getting registrations under the accounting category under the BATF regulations. Under taxation, you can make a computation of the income. If you are qualified, you can file the return in respective jurisdictions. Otherwise, making a preparation of the financial statements, evaluating financial statements, these are only important services you can render under the taxation preparation services. And last is the financial crime compliances.
Yep.
Here what you have to do is that you have to provide the services because it's a mandatory requirement of the IFSCA that the entity which are setting up in that jurisdictions, they are fully compliant and no criminal records are against them. And therefore, the person who is providing services, the financial criminal compliance services compliance kind of things they are providing, they are looking at the data, that is anti-money laundering database they have to see, the promoter's background they have to see, their group of companies detail they have to see, and then they will certify that this company has no criminal track records or their company is located in the financial actions task force kind of things which has been FATF, that jurisdictions is validly situated in that locations which is not been under the grey list or under the blacklist. And then your entity is permitted to make an investment, open office in this jurisdiction. So that services, that is the financial criminal compliance services are being rendered by this category of the person by holding the license. So they can very well choose any one activity out of this. They can prepare a statements, they can compile a statement. Like suppose you are falling under the category, suppose you are providing the bookkeeping writing services. You can provide the service like you have an alternate investment funds registered within that jurisdictions. They want some services. You can provide the services to them because it is in IFSC, either located in IFSC or outside IFSC. You can provide, but those who are located in domestic market, you can't do it. So it's very welcome move because ultimately support services are required, legal services are required for compliances purpose, for keeping the books of accounts to be maintained by the various entities in that jurisdiction, and therefore they are equally given a footing of giving exemptions of the income under section 80 LA. So this is a welcome move under the IFSC. Well, there are a lot of corporates, not in India but also abroad. They are always looking for the cost competitive centers for running their large conglomerates. So let us take the example like Pfizer. They are having a huge number of staffs.
Yes.
Or let us take the Infosys. They have a lot of number of overseas. Like Tata Group, they have the large number of the employees working outside India, and then huge number of the companies also across the globe. So this kind of the large group, they are having a huge number of employees outside India, and a huge number of fund managements are there. The manpower, human resources managements are there. So there are two different categories of the entities are permitted in IFSC to get them registered and get a competitive benefits. The direct one benefit is that anything it comes under this category, they will get the exemption under the Income Tax Act. They get the benefit of the goods and service tax exemptions. So these are the larger costs involved in running a conglomerate, the compatibility centers, capacity centers, or treasury functions. And therefore, this is the right locations where they can set up their businesses. They can monitor, supervise, because if you want to have these treasury offices, let us assume they're outside, let us say in a Singapore or Dubai, the cost of running these centers is running in crores, while the same things are running at 1/3 cost in India. Because location proximity, your direct supervision, interactions. The most important part is that under the income tax, there is a concept of the called POEM. That POEM danger thing is that it will be deemed whatever you have earned outside India, if you do the management within India of the same company, not having a professionally engaged people there, then that concept of the POEM is very dangerous for you. You have to pay the taxes in India as well as outside India. So when you make a offices this kind of in IFSC, you are out of the danger zone of POEM. You are getting a valid tax exemptions. What you have to do is that you have to create a company for this purpose under the Finance Regulations Act. Then this company will make investments in a group of companies under the treasury functions. Some company may need a fund, some company may have a surplus. So that borrowing in one company in overseas market is having a high cost. So what you can do is that the surplus company can remit the money in these jurisdictions. The fund needed company may be pumped in this money, and there will be a cost effectiveness. Even then they have the money, if they have no treasury, then unnecessary costing is increased, their profitability is killing, and therefore treasury function is very, very important. Again, if you establish treasury office in a domestic market, every time the conversion of the forex is also having a huge cost. So for example, you have a company in Turkey, or you have a company in a Mauritius, or you have a company in Italy, having a surplus all these places. So you will remit this money to treasury office in India, for example. Then when money comes, it is converted in rupees. Again, some company want money, you are sending that money back. So again, it will be in a foreign currency conversion. So the double charges you are paying. And important thing, if you do not want to pay this money or charges, then you have to borrow the money where the fund is required. Here the fund is surplus. Where the fund is required, there may be high cost borrowing you have to pay. So all this can be mitigated. Here everything is under the supervision, under the control of the management, top management. So treasury concept is now well picking up. We are handling a few inquiries on this in a process. We are setting up couple of treasury offices. We are having a similar kind of concept, like suppose the family office. So these are very, very important point one has to keep in mind, which is a conglomerate. For small office, it is not the concept, it is for a large conglomerate. So number of companies across the globe, across the India, across the world, they have the number of entities. For them, it is very useful. And for the global competitive kind of things, if you want to, then the capability center you need to develop. So what you have to do is that some research team you would like to get set in, or some important aspect is to be carried out, some research is to be carried out, then this is the place where you can ask them to sit. This will be the feeder point for the global entities. Here the manpower are available, the skill is available at 1/4 or 1/3 cost. You can make a use of it. Even you hire them, the residential cost or other things in India is quite low as compared to others. So all competitiveness of the Indian economy is also been available. Therefore, this center is taking in a fast pace, in a good shape, and therefore the treasury offices and global compatibility kind of things are happening in this. Competitiveness is also happening, and capacity building is the outcome of this. And therefore, the global capability center as well as global in-house or global treasury are increasing day by day, and it will increase. That's what my perception is. A good question. There is no need, let me straight answer these questions. There is no need to get you first to be having an office in IFSC. While sitting in a domestic market, if you can raise, if you are in need of the funds in terms of the foreign exchange, your security need to be in a denominated in foreign exchange, you can get listed in a exchanges which are already set up in a IFSC jurisdictions.
Okay, that's all.
So there is no need that you should have offices there.
Okay.
At this moment, there are a couple of corporates already raised their funds while they are sitting into the domestic market.
Okay.
So they have listed their securities in that exchange. They prepare a prospectus and everything for the public purpose, and they can raise their funds. Not necessarily they can raise equity only. They can raise the debentures fund. They can raise into the bonds kind of things. Masala bond is a one popular product. The Indian corporates have raised, and there are good regulations, favorable regulations are also there, and therefore the large number of corporates, they are looking for this kind of the activities.
Yes.
So there is no need that you should have offices there, and yes, you have the offices there, then you can raise the funds, not only with the stock exchanges, but you can borrow the money from the overseas market, and the lender is not supposed to pay any tax in India. It is a free of cost, free of tax, you can remit that money. So for you having a offices in IFSC, it is a good, but it is not a mandatory, it is a recommended. And therefore, we are of the firm opinion that one should have a offices also, a company also there registered, and also simultaneously a domestic company also get listed. So dual benefits can be availed. So that's what the short and sweet answer.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. That's all for today's video. If you want to establish your office in Gift City, we have made a separate video which shares all your information. Thank you for being there, and please subscribe to our channel. Thank you.